I never thought my marriage would end because of a vaccination record. But sometimes the smallest details reveal the biggest betrayals. My name is Mark Davidson, and this is the story of how I discovered my wife's affair through a yellow fever shot, and how I made sure everyone in her world knew exactly what she'd done. It was a Tuesday evening in May when everything changed. I was in our bedroom, packing for our upcoming Colorado ski trip, our 15th anniversary celebration. Emma and I had been planning this for months, a chance to reconnect after the kids had both left for college. I was pulling documents from our filing cabinet, passports, insurance cards, the usual travel necessities, when her vaccination record fluttered to the floor. I bent to pick it up, and that's when I saw it. Updated March 15th, just 2 months ago. Yellow fever, typhoid, hepatitis A. The record showed she'd gotten the shots at Passport Health Travel Clinic, the one just 20 minutes from our house. I stared at the card, a strange feeling creeping up my spine. That's odd, I muttered to myself, studying the card more closely. Emma had told me she was going to Miami for a medical conference that week. Since when did Florida require tropical disease vaccinations? I sat on the edge of our bed, the card trembling slightly in my hands. Something felt wrong. That familiar knot formed in my stomach, the same feeling I'd had a few times over the past year when Emma's stories didn't quite add up. Like when she'd come home from a late meeting smelling like cologne that wasn't mine. Or when she'd been texting constantly during our daughter's graduation dinner, claiming it was work emergencies. Think, Mark, I told myself. There's probably a logical explanation. But the more I thought about it, the less sense it made. I pulled out my phone and did a quick search. Miami vaccination requirements. Nothing. No special vaccines needed for domestic travel to Florida. I searched yellow fever Miami and got results about traveling from Miami to places that required the vaccine, South America, parts of Africa, but nothing about needing it for Miami itself. My hands were steady as I walked to my home office and opened my laptop. 23 years in financial consulting had taught me to follow paper trails, and this particular trail was about to lead somewhere I never expected. I logged into our joint credit card account. Emma and I had always shared finances. Complete transparency. We'd agreed when we got married. The irony of that thought wasn't lost on me as I scrolled through the March transactions. There it was. Passport Health Travel Clinic, $340. The same date as her vaccination record. I clicked for details. The charge was local, from the clinic just 20 minutes from our house. She'd gotten the shots here before leaving for her conference. My pulse quickened as I continued scrolling. American Airlines, $487. March 14th. I clicked on the transaction details, something I'd never bothered to do before. My browser redirected to the airline's record lookup. I waited for the page to load, my heart pounding in my chest. The screen loaded, and I felt the air leave my lungs. MIA to PLS. Miami to Providenciales, Turks and Caicos. Not Miami. She'd flown through Miami, to the Caribbean. I pushed back from my desk, my mind racing. The medical conference in Miami had been a complete fabrication. She'd used it as a cover story while vacationing in Turks and Caicos. But why? And with whom? My phone buzzed. A text from Emma. Hey honey, grabbing drinks with Sarah after work. Don't wait up. Love you. I stared at the message. How many other lies had there been? How many drinks with Sarah or late meetings or conference calls? Sarah was her best friend from college, someone I'd known for 20 years. Had she been covering for Emma? Or was she being used as an alibi without her knowledge? I turned back to my laptop, my financial instincts kicking in. If she'd lied about the destination, What else would I find? I started digging deeper into our credit card statements. Hotel charges, restaurant bills, spa treatments, all from that week in March. But the credit card statements only showed the amounts, not the detailed merchant information. Emma and I had shared passwords since the early days of our marriage. No secrets, we'd promised each other. Another bitter irony as I logged into her Gmail account. I felt a twinge of guilt. Was I violating her privacy? But then I remembered the vaccination card, the lies, the deception. I pushed forward. I searched for Turks and Caicos. Nothing. My heart sank a little. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe there was an explanation. Then I searched for Providenciales. Still nothing. She'd been careful. But 20 years of marriage had taught me Emma's habits. She was meticulous about keeping her inbox clean, always moving emails to folders or deleting them. But she had one consistent blind spot. I clicked on All Mail. In Gmail, this folder contains everything, even emails that have been archived or removed from the inbox but not permanently deleted. Emma never remembered it existed. She'd mentioned it once, years ago, complaining about Gmail's interface. Why do they keep emails I've already archived? It's so confusing. I'd tried to explain it to her, but she'd waved me off. Whatever, I'll just ignore that folder. And there they were. Your Beaches Resort reservation confirmation. Guest names, Emma Davidson and Ryan Torres check-in. March 15th. Checkout. March 19th room type. Beachfront Butler Suite, Ryan Torres. The name hit me like a physical blow. Her coworker, the happily married father of 3 who'd been to our house for barbecues, whose wife Linda had become Emma's friend, who'd stood in my living room just last month toasting to faithful marriages and good friends. I remembered that toast clearly now, how Emma had looked away when he'd said it, how she'd quickly changed the subject. My hands were surprisingly steady as I took screenshots of everything. The reservation, the flight confirmations in both their names, the spa appointment for a couple's massage, the private dinner reservation on the beach, the activity bookings, sunset sailing, snorkeling for 2, a private photography session. 5 nights in paradise with another woman's husband while I stayed home, believing she was advancing her career. While I'd sent supportive texts about her big presentation and ordered flowers to be delivered to her hotel in Miami. Flowers she thanked me for, but had obviously never received. I dug deeper into the emails. There were more confirmations, all carefully archived but not deleted. Pre-trip planning emails between her and Ryan, discussing what to pack, what excursions to book. One email thread made my stomach turn. Ryan, can't wait for our getaway. Linda thinks I'm at the pharma conference in Seattle. Emma, Mark thinks I'm at the medical conference in Miami. Thank God for work conferences, right? Ryan, 5 days of just us. No kids, no spouses, no pretending. Emma, I bought that red dress you like, the one from your birthday dinner that you couldn't stop staring at. Ryan, the one that drove me crazy? This trip can't come fast enough. I had to stop reading. I remembered that birthday dinner. It had been at our house, a surprise party Emma had helped Linda organize for Ryan's 40th. I remembered the red dress, too. I'd complimented her on it, told her she looked beautiful. She'd seemed so happy that night, so alive. Now I knew why. I sat back in my chair, processing what I'd discovered. The betrayal was devastating, but the elaborateness of the deception was almost impressive. The vaccination story was genius. It provided a paper trail that seemed legitimate unless you looked too closely. Get vaccinated for a tropical location, but claim you're going somewhere domestic. Who would ever check? But I was checking now. I pulled up our phone records online. March 15th, 19 showed minimal communication between us. A few short texts from her. Conference going well. Session's running late. Miss you too. I cross-referenced the timestamps with the Turks and Caicos time zone. Her late-night conference session text had been sent at 2 p.m. Island time. Probably from a beach chair. One text particularly stung. Presentation went amazing. They loved it. Celebrating with the team tonight. Sent on March 17th. According to the resort bookings I'd found, that was the night of their private beach dinner. The more I dug, the more I found. Her Instagram had no posts from those dates. Unusual for Emma, who documented everything. But Instagram stories disappear after 24 hours. She'd thought she was being clever. I checked her tagged photos. Nothing from those dates. She'd been meticulous about her social media presence during the trip, but not meticulous enough about those emails. I needed more confirmation before I made any decisions. I picked up my phone and composed a text to Patricia Williams, Emma's boss. Hey Patricia, quick question. Where was Emma's conference last month? Need it for some expense reports I'm filing. The 3 dots appeared immediately. Patricia was always prompt, one of those executives who prided herself on instant communication. What conference? Emma took personal days March 14th, 19. Said it was a family emergency. Is everything okay? I stared at the screen. Personal days. Not even a work trip. She'd lied to her boss, too, which meant no expense reimbursement. They'd paid for this trip themselves. This wasn't some momentary lapse in judgment or a work trip that had gone too far. This was planned, premeditated deception. Everything's fine, I typed back. Just mixed up my dates. Thanks. I took a screenshot of the conversation. Evidence. My consultant brain was taking over, treating this like any other investigation. Document everything. Build an airtight case. Present findings. But first, I needed everything. 3 years ago, I'd set up automatic phone backups for both our devices. Emma had complained it slowed down her phone, but I'd insisted. What if you lose all your photos? She'd rolled her eyes, but agreed. The backups ran every night at 2 a.m., uploading to our shared cloud storage. The irony was choking me now as I accessed her March backup. The backup software was thorough. It captured everything: photos, messages, app data, even items that had been deleted from the device. Emma had been careful to remove evidence from her phone, but she'd forgotten about the backup running quietly in the background. Or more likely, she'd never really understood how it worked. Technology wasn't her strong suit. I'd always handled our digital life. I opened the photo folder for March 15th, 19. What I found took my breath away. Over 200 photos. Beach selfies with Ryan, his arm around her waist, her head on his shoulder, kissing. So much kissing. Sunset dinners where they gazed into each other's eyes. Pool shots where she wore a bikini I'd never seen, a barely there white thing that left little to the imagination. Dancing at what appeared to be a resort club, their bodies pressed together. Kissing on a boat, kissing on the beach, kissing in the water. Kissing in what was clearly their hotel room, though those photos were cropped strategically. In one photo, I noticed she was wearing a ring on her right hand, something that looked like a promise ring or anniversary band. It wasn't anything I'd given her. I zoomed in. It was a delicate gold band with small diamonds. In another photo, I could see an inscription on the inside. The image wasn't clear enough to read it, but the fact that it existed made my stomach turn. The metadata told its own story. Photos taken throughout each day, from early morning coffee shots to late night beach walks. They hadn't just snuck away for a weekend, they'd lived as a couple for 5 full days. There were photos of room service breakfasts, lazy afternoon naps on beach chairs, champagne toasts at sunset. They documented everything like any couple on a romantic vacation. One series of photos particularly caught my attention. They'd hired a professional photographer for what looked like a couple's session on the beach. Dozens of posed romantic shots, holding hands while walking in the surf, him spinning her around, her jumping into his arms, silhouettes against the sunset. These weren't candid moments of weakness. This was a celebration of their relationship, professionally documented. I created a new folder on my desktop, Evidence. Subfolders, vaccination records, financial records, travel documents, communications, photos. Everything organized, cataloged, time-stamped. My years of analyzing financial fraud had prepared me for this moment, but nothing had prepared me for the pain of seeing my wife look at another man the way she used to look at me, the way she looked at me on our wedding day, on our honeymoon in Hawaii, when our daughters were born, during our anniversary dinners. That look was supposed to be mine, ours, sacred to our marriage. And here it was, given freely to another woman's husband on a beach 3,000 miles away. I found myself going through our old photos, comparing them to these new ones. When had she stopped looking at me that way? When had I become the obligation instead of the choice? In recent photos of us together, family gatherings, holiday cards, social events, her smile seemed forced, her body language distant. How long had I been blind to this? My phone buzzed. Another text from Emma. Sarah's having man troubles, might be late. Don't wait up. Love you. I almost laughed at the cruel irony. Man troubles indeed. I sat in my office until the early hours of the morning, staring at the evidence I'd compiled. The house was quiet. Emma still wasn't home from her drinks with Sarah. Another lie, probably. Everything was a lie now. I wondered if Sarah even knew she was being used as an alibi. I thought about calling her, but what would I say? Hey, Sarah, is my wife actually with you or is she with her lover? No, I needed to think this through. What does a man do with information like this? Some would confront immediately, in the heat of anger. Others might try to work through it, seek counseling, attempt to salvage what remained. I'd seen both approaches in my professional life, dealing with clients who discovered financial infidelity. But this was beyond money. This was the complete destruction of trust, of the foundation of our life together. As I looked at those photos, at the joy in her face, the casual intimacy between them, the elaborate deception required to make it happen, I knew there was no salvaging this. The woman in those photos wasn't someone who'd made a mistake. She was someone who'd made a choice. Many choices. Calculated, deliberate choices. The vaccination card sat on my desk, almost mocking in its simplicity. Such a small thing to bring down a marriage. But it wasn't really about the card, was it? It was about what the card represented. The willingness to lie, to deceive, to construct an elaborate false reality. If she could lie about this, what else had she lied about? I thought about our daughters, Ashley and Megan, both away at college. They deserved to know the truth about why their parents' marriage was ending. I thought about our friends, our families, all the people who'd been part of our lives. Emma had involved them all in her deception, using them as alibis and cover stories. How many times had she said she was with Sarah when she was really with Ryan? How many work emergencies were actually romantic rendezvous? And then there was Linda Torres, Ryan's wife. She deserved to know. Their 3 kids deserved to have the truth, even if it shattered their family too. I'd met Linda dozens of times. She was kind, funny, devoted to her family. She'd hosted play dates when our kids were young, organized neighborhood barbecues, been a room mother at school. She didn't deserve this. By 3 a.m., I'd made my decision. Emma had chosen to make our private life public by involving everyone in her lies. She'd used our friends, our families, even her workplace as props in her deception. So everyone would learn the truth, all at once. No opportunity for spin or damage control. No chance for her and Ryan to coordinate their stories or delete more evidence. I opened Google Drive and created a new shared folder. Emma's Miami Conference, The Truth. I uploaded everything methodically. The vaccination record went first, the smoking gun that had started it all. Then, the flight records showing the real destination, the hotel confirmation with both their names. Patricia's text confirming Emma had taken personal days, not attended a conference. The email threads planning their trip. And finally, all 237 photos from their Turks and Caicos romance. I added captions to key pieces of evidence. Vaccination card. Yellow fever isn't required for Miami. Flight records. MIA to PLS. Providenciales, Turks and Caicos. Hotel confirmation. Note both guest names. Boss confirmation. Personal days, not a conference. Photo 73. Note the ring on her right hand, not from me. Photos 134, 156, professional couples photography session. Email thread. Both admit to lying to spouses about conferences. Then I opened Emma's contacts on our shared family computer. She had them synced across all devices. I selected all. Every family member, every friend, every coworker, her book club, her gym buddies, the neighborhood Facebook group moderators, her college friends, the parents from when our kids were in school, everyone. 247 contacts in total. I composed the email. Subject: Emma's Miami Conference. The truth. Many of you know Emma recently attended a medical conference in Miami. I discovered today this was a lie. Emma spent 5 days in Turks and Caicos with her coworker Ryan Torres. The linked folder contains her vaccination record. Yellow fever is not required for Miami. Real flight records showing the Caribbean destination hotel confirmation with both their names. Confirmation from her boss that she took personal days email threads where they planned their deception. Over 200 photos they took and deleted, showing their real activities. I'm sharing this because many of you were unknowingly made complicit in this deception through alibis and cover stories. You deserve the truth. Mark. My finger hovered over the send button. Once this was done, there was no taking it back. But hadn't Emma already destroyed our marriage? I was just making sure everyone knew how. I thought about adding more to the email, explaining my pain, my shock, my devastation. But the evidence spoke for itself. Let them draw their own conclusions. I hit send at 3:47 a.m. By 3:52 a.m., my phone was vibrating constantly. The first call was from Emma. I declined, then Ryan. Declined. Then a number I didn't recognize, probably Linda Torres. I let it go to voicemail. The texts started flooding in. From Emma's sister Beth. OMG, Mark, is this real? I can't believe this. From our neighbor Joan. I'm so sorry, Mark. I had no idea. She told me she was at a conference too. From Emma's coworker Brad. The whole office Slack is going crazy right now. Ryan's getting destroyed in the group chat. From my brother, Tom. Just saw the email. On my way over with beer and support. From Linda Torres. Mark, I'm at their hotel in the photos. The beaches resort. I'm in shock. Call me when you can. From Emma's mother. Mark, what is this? This can't be real. Tell me this is a mistake. From Ryan's brother. You've destroyed my family. Was this necessary? I turned my phone to silent and went to the kitchen to make coffee. It was going to be a long day. The sun was just starting to rise, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange. It looked like the sunset photos from their trip, and I had to turn away. By 4:15 a.m., Emma's car screeched into the driveway. She must have been driving when the notification started hitting her phone. She burst through the door, still in her clothes from the night before. Her face was a mixture of rage and panic, her carefully styled hair now disheveled, her makeup smeared. What did you do? She screamed, her phone clutched in her hand, notifications still pouring in. I sat calmly at the kitchen table, laptop open to the photo backup. I shared your vacation photos. Beautiful resort, great weather for March. You sent them to everyone. My grandmother, my boss, the kid who mows our lawn, our daughter's friend's parents. Everyone deserves to know why you needed a yellow fever vaccine from Miami, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. Very responsible, by the way. Safety first. Mark, please let me explain. Explain what exactly? The vaccination card? The real flight records? Or should we start with Patricia confirming you lied about the conference? By the way, that's timesheet fraud if you claimed any expenses. Her phone rang. In her panic, she answered on speaker. Emma! Ryan's voice, high with panic. My wife saw everything! She's at my office with a baseball bat. Security is trying to... Because you got vaccinated for yellow fever, Ryan, I called out. Miami doesn't have yellow fever. Your planning sucked. Mark, bro, this is between you and 247 of our closest contacts now, bro, including your wife, who seems upset about photo 147, where Emma's sitting on your lap, and photo 73, where she's wearing jewelry you gave her. Emma hung up. Her boss was calling. She declined. Then it rang again immediately. Answer it, I said calmly. Patricia doesn't like being ignored. With shaking hands, Emma answered. Patricia, Don't come to the office. Patricia's voice was ice cold. Security has been instructed to escort you out if you appear. HR will contact you about retrieving your belongings. Your key card has been deactivated. Patricia, please. Can we discuss? You lied about a family emergency to vacation with a coworker. That's gross misconduct. The photos just make it worse. Ryan is also terminated. Don't contact anyone from the company. The line went dead. I'm going to get fired, Emma whispered, the reality starting to sink in. Already did, I corrected. And considering Ryan works at the same company, they'll probably... Her phone rang again. Ryan calling. She answered. They fired me. His voice was panicked. 15 years at this company, and they fired me over email. My wife has locked me out. She's posting the photos on Facebook. Emma, what do we do? I don't know. Emma was crying now. Mark sent everything to everyone. My family, my friends, everyone knows. We need to coordinate our response, Ryan said. Maybe we can... I grabbed the phone. There's no coordinating anything, Ryan. It's all out there. The emails where you planned it, the photos you thought you deleted, the vaccination records. Everyone knows exactly what you did and how you did it. You vindictive... I hung up and tossed the phone back to Emma. By the way, photo 194, you're wearing your grandmother's necklace, the one she gave you for our wedding. Your dad already texted me about that. He's particularly upset about that detail. Emma's phone was going off constantly. Calls, texts, Facebook notifications, Instagram tags, emails. The digital avalanche of her own making. She looked at her screen in horror. They made a hashtag, she said numbly. #vaccination vacation. It's trending locally. Creative, I admitted. Though I prefer the comment thread where your book club is discussing which literary adulteress you most resemble. Margaret compared you to Anna Karenina, but Carol thinks you're more of a Madame Bovary. This isn't funny, Mark. You're right. It's not funny, it's devastating. It's the end of our marriage, our family as we knew it, and apparently both your careers. But if I don't find some dark humor in this, I might just fall apart. So yes, I'm going to appreciate the literary analysis of your affair. A car pulled up outside. Through the window, I could see it was Emma's sister, Beth, still in her pajamas with a coat thrown over them. Beth's here, I announced. Probably to pick you up. I had the locks changed an hour ago. What? You can't lock me out. This is my house, too. Actually, I said, pulling out a folder I'd prepared. Michigan is an equitable distribution state. Given the documented infidelity and financial fraud, my lawyer is confident about the temporary exclusive occupancy order. But don't worry, I've packed your things. When did you call a lawyer? Between finding your beach photos and hitting send to your grandmother. She's very disappointed, by the way. Left a comment on photo 43 saying she never thought her granddaughter would break her marriage vows. Beth entered without knocking, looking between us with a mixture of anger and disappointment. Emma, what the hell? Beth said. Tell me this is some sick joke. Beth, I can explain. I covered for you, Beth interrupted. When Mark called looking for you that Thursday, I said you were probably in a conference session. I lied to your husband for you. You didn't know. Because you made me an accomplice without my consent. Beth's voice rose. How many other people did you rope into your lies? I didn't mean photo 156, Beth continued, looking at her phone. The professional photo shoot. You hired a photographer to document your affair? Who does that? It was Ryan's idea. Oh, well, that makes it better, Beth said sarcastically. Mark, I'm sorry. I had no idea I was enabling this. It's not your fault, I said. Emma's good at using people. I should know. I believed her for 20 years. More cars were arriving. Emma's parents, my brother, some neighbors. Word was spreading fast in the digital age. Emma looked out the window in panic. Make them leave, she pleaded. They're not here for me, I said. Your support system is here to help you. Although based on the comments in the shared folder, support might not be the right word. Emma's mother entered next, her father close behind. Her mother had clearly been crying. Her father's face was stone. 37 years, her mother said quietly. We've been married 37 years. Never once did your father pull something like this. We raised you better. Mom, please. Photo 194, her father interrupted, his voice cold. You're wearing your grandmother's necklace, the one she gave you for your wedding. You wore our family heirloom to your affair. I wanted something special. Something special? Her father's voice cracked. That necklace has been in our family for 4 generations. It was blessed by your great-grandmother, and you wore it while betraying your vows. Emma's phone rang again. She looked at the screen. It's HR. Better answer, I suggested. Might be important. She put it on speaker without thinking, her hands shaking too much to hold it to her ear. Miss Davidson? This is Janet from Human Resources. We need you to come in immediately to collect your personal belongings and return company property. Security will meet you in the parking lot. Do not attempt to enter the building. Janet, please, can we discuss? Additionally, we're conducting a full audit of your expense reports for the past 2 years. Initial findings suggest you may have expensed portions of your personal trip. We'll be in touch about reimbursement and potential legal action. Legal action? Emma's voice was barely a whisper. Fraud over $500 is a felony, Miss Davidson. The flights you expensed for your Miami conference totaled $487. That's just under the limit, but if we find other instances... The line went dead. Tell me you didn't expense the trip, I said. Her silence was answer enough. Emma, I sighed. Tell me you didn't commit fraud on top of adultery. Just the flights, she whispered. I said it was for the conference. That's a felony, her father said, his business background showing. Expense fraud. They could press charges. They won't, Emma said desperately. Right? They wouldn't actually... Depend on what else they find, I said. How many other conferences did you attend, Emma? Again, silence. Oh my God, Beth muttered. This wasn't the first time? Emma's phone buzzed with a text. She looked at it and paled even further. Linda Torres, she said. She says she's filing for alienation of affection. She's suing me. North Carolina is one of the few states that still has that law, I said. Lucky for her, that's where Ryan's from. She can file there. Those cases can result in significant damages. You knew? Emma accused. You knew she could sue me? I researched everything while you were at drinks with Sarah, I said. Due diligence. Always important. By noon, the situation had gone fully viral within our social circle. The shared folder had been accessed over 500 times. Screenshots were being shared on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Someone had even created a meme from photo 73, the one where Emma was wearing the mystery ring, captioned, "When your side piece gives you jewelry and you forget to take it off for photos." Local news had picked up the story. Vaccination vacation. Local woman's affair exposed through medical records was trending on Twitter. Someone had leaked it to a gossip blogger who specialized in suburban scandals. Emma sat on the front porch with garbage bags of her belongings, scrolling through her phone in horror. The house was full of people now, my support system, not hers. Her family had left after her mother had broken down crying, saying she needed time to process this betrayal. They're destroying me online, Emma said numbly. Complete strangers are commenting on my photos, calling me things. Natural consequence of it going viral, I said, though I didn't expect it to spread beyond our circle. That was Ryan's brother's doing. He posted it to Reddit. My sister-in-law destroyed my brother's marriage for a beach vacation, has over 10,000 upvotes. Make it stop, she pleaded. I can't. Once something's on the internet, it's forever. You should know that. You work in healthcare communications. Worked, I mean. Ryan's wife, Linda, pulled up in a van. She got out, looking remarkably composed for a woman whose life had also just exploded. She was wearing workout clothes and her hair was in a messy bun, but she carried herself with dignity. Emma, she said calmly, I wanted to thank you. Emma looked up, confused. For the photos, Linda continued. My lawyer says they're incredibly helpful, especially the ones where Ryan's wearing his wedding ring while holding your hand. Shows clear disregard for the marriage. Very helpful for alimony calculations. Linda, I never meant Photo 89, Linda interrupted. You're wearing the earrings I helped him pick out for your birthday. I spent hours helping him choose something you'd love. He told me they were for me, but they didn't match anything I wear. Now I know why. She turned to me. Mark, I'm sorry you're going through this too. But thank you for sending everything. Ryan's been deleting texts and emails for months. I knew something was wrong, but could never prove it. The vaccination card was the key, I said. Once I saw that, everything else unraveled. Linda laughed bitterly. Yellow fever for Miami. Even my 12-year-old knew that didn't make sense. He's the one who pointed it out when I showed him. Mom, we learned about yellow fever in geography. That's for Africa and South America, not Florida. Your kids saw? Emma gasped. Everyone saw, Linda said coldly. That's what happens when you send something to 247 people. It spreads. My kids' friends saw it. Their parents, their teachers, everyone. I'm sorry, Emma whispered. No, you're not, Linda said. You're sorry you got caught. Photo 134, the professional photographer. You were planning to frame those photos, weren't you? Put them up in your new life together? Emma's silence was confirmation enough. 5 kids between us, Linda continued. 5 kids whose lives you've destroyed for a beach vacation. I hope the tan was worth it. She got back in her van and drove away, leaving Emma sobbing on the porch. My lawyer arrived an hour later with the divorce papers. Emma was served on the front lawn, in full view of the neighbors who had gathered to watch the drama unfold. Some pretended to be gardening or checking their mail, but everyone was watching. Adultery, fraud, alienation of affection, the lawyer listed. This is one of the most clear-cut cases I've seen. The vaccination card alone is brilliant, shows clear premeditation. Please, Emma begged. Can we do this inside? You're not allowed inside, I reminded her. Temporary restraining order, remember? She signed the papers with shaking hands, mascara running down her cheeks. The lawyer took photos of the signing. Documentation, he explained. By evening, Emma's life had completely imploded. Fired from her job, locked out of her house, served with divorce papers, facing a potential fraud investigation, being sued by Linda Torres, viral social media infamy. Her family barely speaking to her, all because she needed a yellow fever vaccine for her affair. My daughters had both called by then. Ashley, our eldest, was surprisingly calm. Dad, I saw everything. The whole campus is talking about it. Someone recognized Mom's name and connected it to me. I'm sorry, sweetheart. I didn't mean for it to affect you at school. It's okay, she said. Better to know the truth. My roommate's parents went through something similar, but her dad tried to hide it. The secrets and lies dragged on for years. At least this way, it's all out there. You're not angry with me? For what? Telling the truth? Mom's the one who cheated. Mom's the one who lied. You just exposed it. Though next time, maybe don't CC the entire contact list? Next time? I laughed despite everything. There won't be a next time. Good, because my dad exposed my mom's affair to everyone she knows is a hard story to top at therapy. Megan, our younger daughter, was more emotional but equally supportive. I can't believe Mom would do this, she cried over the phone. With Ryan Torres. I used to babysit his kids. I know, honey, it's a lot to process. Is it true she wore Grandma's necklace? Yes. That's somehow the worst part. That necklace is supposed to be mine someday. Now it's tainted. We'll clean it, I promised. Spiritually and physically, it's still your family heirloom. Dad, thank you for telling us the truth, even though it hurts. As night fell, I sat in my quiet house, truly quiet for the first time in years. No lies humming in the background, no deceptions buzzing like white noise, just truth and silence. My phone had finally stopped buzzing with new messages. The initial shock had worn off, and people were processing the information. The shared folder had been viewed over 1,000 times. Screenshots were everywhere. The story had taken on a life of its own. I pulled up the folder one more time, looking at the evidence I'd compiled. It seemed like days ago, not hours, that I'd found that vaccination card. One small yellow card had unraveled 20 years of marriage in less than 12 hours. But it wasn't really the card, was it? The card was just the thread that, when pulled, revealed the entire web of lies. Emma and Ryan had been sloppy, gotten overconfident. The vaccination was their crucial mistake, an unnecessary detail that gave them away. I wondered how long the affair had been going on. The March trip was clearly not their first interaction. The casual intimacy in the photos, the practiced way they moved together, the inside jokes evident in their poses. This was an established relationship. Going back through our credit card statements with new eyes, I could see it now. Charges I'd dismissed. Business trips that aligned with Ryan's travel schedule. Late meetings on the same nights Linda had mentioned Ryan working late. How long had I been blind? My brother Tom arrived with pizza and beer as promised. "How you holding up?" he asked, settling onto the couch. "I'm not sure," I admitted. "It feels surreal. This morning I was married. Tonight I'm not. This morning Emma was a respected healthcare executive. Tonight she's a viral meme." "The vaccination thing is already legendary," Tom said. "My buddy at the gym was talking about it. He doesn't even know you guys. Someone should make it a cautionary tale for cheaters. Always check your vaccine requirements." "Or just don't cheat," I suggested. "That too. But if you're going to be stupid enough to cheat, at least be smart about it. Vaccinations for Miami? That's next level dumb." We sat in silence for a while, drinking beer and processing the day. "You know what the craziest part is?" I said eventually. "I'm relieved. Under all the anger and hurt and humiliation, I'm actually relieved. No more wondering why she seemed distant. No more questioning if I was imagining things. No more gaslighting." "When did you first suspect?" Tom asked. "Maybe 6 months ago? Little things. She was protective of her phone, working late more often, less interested in us. But every time I brought it up, she made me feel crazy for questioning her." "Gaslighting," Tom nodded. "Classic cheater behavior. She was good at it too. Had me convinced I was being paranoid. Even went to couples counseling where she talked about my trust issues and controlling behavior. The therapist had me working on being less suspicious. While she was planning beach vacations with another man." "Exactly. Though I bet she didn't mention that in therapy." We ordered more beer. Friends stopped by throughout the evening, some to offer support, others just to hear the story firsthand. By midnight, my living room looked like a support group meeting. "The photos are what get me," said my friend Steve. "Who takes that many photos of their affair?" "People who think they won't get caught," suggested another friend, Mike. "They were living in a fantasy." "An expensive fantasy," I added. "That resort is $500 a night minimum, plus flights, food, activities. They dropped at least $5,000 on that trip." "While you were home saving for retirement." Tom shook his head. Did she use joint funds? Separate credit card, but yes, money that should have gone to our joint savings. Another thing for the lawyers to sort out. The conversation turned to other affairs everyone knew about, other marriages that had imploded. But none had the dramatic documentation of mine. The vaccination card was already becoming legendary, the small detail that exposed everything. It's like she wanted to get caught, Mike suggested. Nobody's that careless unless they want to be discovered. Maybe subconsciously, I mused. Or maybe she just thought I was too trusting to ever check. 20 years of being the supportive husband who never questioned anything. Until you did, Steve raised his beer. To Mark, who finally questioned something. To the yellow fever vaccine, Tom added, the real MVP of this story. To the truth, I concluded. However it comes out. We clinked bottles, a strange toast to the end of my marriage, but it felt right somehow. Better to celebrate the truth than mourn a lie. By 2 a.m., everyone had left except Tom, who was crashing in the guest room. I sat alone in my bedroom, our bedroom, though it was just mine now. Emma's things were gone, packed in the garbage bag she'd taken. The closet looked empty with just my clothes. The bathroom counter seemed sparse without her arsenal of skincare products, but the air felt cleaner somehow. No secrets hiding in the corners, no lies lurking under the bed, just space and truth and the possibility of something better. I pulled out my laptop one more time, checking the shared folder. The comments section had become a support group of sorts. Other betrayed spouses sharing their stories, friends offering help, even strangers expressing sympathy and outrage. One comment stood out from a username I didn't recognize. This happened to me 5 years ago. Wish I'd had the courage to expose it all like this. The lies and secrecy ate me alive for years. You did the right thing. The truth hurts, but secrets kill. I closed the laptop and lay back on the bed. Tomorrow would bring lawyers and logistics and the messy business of untangling 20 years of shared life. But tonight, for the first time in months, maybe years, I could sleep without wondering where my wife really was and who she was really with. The yellow vaccination card sat on my nightstand, a simple document that had changed everything. Tomorrow I'd throw it away. Its purpose served. But tonight, it was a reminder that sometimes the smallest details reveal the biggest truths. And sometimes that's exactly what needs to happen. 6 months later, the dust had finally settled. The divorce was finalized with Emma getting far less than she'd hoped, given the documented infidelity and fraud. She'd been ordered to pay back the company for falsified expenses. Linda Torres had won her alienation of affection suit, resulting in a substantial judgment against Emma. Ryan Torres had moved out of state, his reputation in shambles. The pharmaceutical industry was surprisingly small, and word of the vaccination vacation had spread. Last I heard, he was working construction in Nevada. Emma had found work at a small clinic 3 towns over, making a third of her previous salary. She'd had to sell her car to pay legal fees and was living in a studio apartment. The fall from successful executive to cautionary tale had been swift and complete. The girls had adjusted, as kids do. They maintained a relationship with their mother, though it was strained. Ashley told me Emma had started therapy, was working on herself. I hoped it was true, for the girls' sake if nothing else. She asked about you, Ashley said during one of our calls. Wanted to know if you're happy. What did you tell her? The truth. That you're doing better than anyone expected. That Amy is good for you. That you smile more now than you did the last few years of the marriage. Amy. I'd met her at the grocery store of all places, reaching for the same bunch of bananas. She was a cardiac nurse at the local hospital who'd heard about the vaccination vacation before we met. It's legendary in the medical community, she'd told me on our first date. We use it as a cautionary tale. One of the doctors even added a slide about it to his travel medicine presentation. Always verify your destination before vaccination. We'd been dating for 4 months now, taking things slow. She understood my trust issues, knew why I sometimes asked one too many questions about her plans. She was patient with my healing. For what it's worth, she'd said recently, I think you handled it perfectly. No violence, no screaming, no drawn-out drama. Just truth, delivered efficiently to everyone who deserved to know. The support group I'd started had grown to over 30 regular members. We met weekly in the community center, sharing stories and strategies for healing. Linda Torres was my co-facilitator. Someone asked me if Ryan and I are getting back together, she'd announced at last week's meeting. I said sure, right after I get yellow fever, typhoid, and hepatitis A vaccines. For safety. The group had laughed. We'd all learned to find humor where we could. The vaccination vacation had become something of an urban legend. I regularly received messages from strangers who'd heard the story, thanking me for the courage to expose the truth. Some shared their own stories of discovery and betrayal. Others asked for advice on how to investigate suspected affairs. Check everything, I always told them. Credit cards, phone records, social media. But especially check the small things that seem wrong. Trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. But the real legacy of the yellow card wasn't about catching cheaters. It was about the power of truth however it reveals itself. About the importance of not letting lies fester in the dark. About the courage to bring secrets into the light, even when it burns. My life now was smaller in some ways than the one I'd had before. The house was gone, sold in the divorce. The social circle had shifted, divided between those who supported truth and those who preferred comfortable lies. The future I'd planned with Emma had evaporated like morning mist. But what remained was solid. Real. Built on truth rather than deception. My relationships were honest. My life was authentic. My peace of mind was intact. And it all started with a vaccination card that fell to the floor on a Tuesday evening in May. Sometimes I wondered what would have happened if Emma had been smarter about her affair. If she'd paid cash for the vaccines, deleted the email confirmations properly, been more careful with the photos. Would I have ever known? Would we still be living that lie? But she wasn't careful. Maybe, deep down, she wanted to be caught. Maybe the weight of the deception was too heavy. Maybe she was just arrogant, believing I'd never look closely enough to see the truth. Whatever the reason, I was grateful for that yellow fever vaccine. It saved me from a life of unknowing betrayal. It forced a reckoning that needed to happen. It taught me to trust my instincts and pay attention to details. Most importantly, it taught me that the truth, however painful, is the foundation of any life worth living. The vaccination card itself was long gone, thrown away with other remnants of my former life. But its lesson remained. Sometimes the smallest details reveal the biggest deceptions. Sometimes a simple medical document can unravel 20 years of lies. Sometimes yellow fever is exactly what you need to cure a diseased marriage. And sometimes, just sometimes, getting caught is the best thing that can happen to everyone involved. Because now, 2 years later, we were all living in truth. Emma in her studio apartment, hopefully growing and learning. Ryan in his exile, presumably reflecting on his choices. Linda in her new life, free from deception. The kids understanding that actions have consequences. And me in a smaller but happier life with a woman who actually goes where she says she's going. No tropical vaccinations required.